Hello, I'm Professor Edward Peck. I'm the chair of the OfS for Students, and this is my briefing on our most recent board meeting, which took place on the 10th of December. We looked at two issues in depth. The first was a consideration of the recent government white paper on education and skills, and also a conversation about our new communications and engagement strategy, about which I'd like to share a few words. So, firstly, the white paper. We see this as laying out 5 significant shifts for higher education, which align with our new strategy. It envisages a sector much more orientated towards local and national skills needs, which includes the expansion of flexible, occupationally focused learning. To enable this, incentives need to be in place to help ensure we have the right focus and level of courses in the right places, what might be termed market shaping. Thirdly, the white paper insists that we must have a high-quality sector where improvement is the norm and where poor provision is rooted out rapidly. It also wants to see a more collaborative sector where institutions place their strengths, their different and complementary strengths. And finally, the white paper sets out how we must build a more accessible sector, one which enables our students to benefit from course and experience that meet their needs. Now, of course, we covered those issues in detail and the extent to which they require the OfS to extend its current activities or indeed begin new activities. But we also focused an awful lot on the how of how we're going to go about these things, how we become a regulator that works collaboratively with institutions and groups of institutions and connecting people and organisations across the higher education landscape. We spoke about how we can offer input and support through guidance, information, analysis, and through much more joint working. As I said at a recent event, regulation should feel more like partnership and less like punishment. We'll come back to this topic in February as we discuss the OfS business plan for 2026 onwards. We'll be looking to position our people, our resources, clearly and rigorously behind what adds value in relation to our new strategy and, of course, the implementation of the government's white paper. Now, moving on to our communications and engagement plan for the OfS 2025 to 2030. And this takes forward our approach to embodying our new attitudes of being vocal and being collaborative. Central to this, of course, is the student voice. So just before our board meeting, the Student Interest Board, chaired by Caleb Stevens, met and talked about this paper. And he could then bring the insights of that board into discussions in the afternoon. And this is only appropriate because the plan articulates how we want to improve how the OfS connects to students and embeds ever more deeply students' views into our work. More broadly, though, when asked about my experience of the OfS during my first 6 months, one of my reflections is that colleagues get through a prodigious amount of work here at the OfS, and this results in almost daily publications on our website. In other words, there's a lot of stuff. However, it seems to me it's not always presented in a thematic or cumulative manner, albeit when it is, such as with our sector financial sustainability updates, it has real impact. So the challenge for us is how do we build on that success to make much more of our work thematic, where the themes and the stories build over time, so all of us is the thread of the argument and see where this is taking us as a regulator and indeed as a sector. So that's one of the ambitions this plan will deliver over the next 5 years. In doing so, and as I've said before, we will be working more on making the OfS an authoritative voice, being clear about what is great about higher education, as well as calling out where practices and outcomes are simply not acceptable. So that's the balance this work will achieve. Related to our work to improve collaboration and engagement, I was pleased to be able to share with the board at the meeting that we've now recruited our new provider panel, which will ensure the perspectives of institutions are a central part of our governance. Now, the members know who they are. I'll be announcing the membership of this panel early in the new year, and the first meeting will take place before our board meeting in February. Finally, I won't cover all the other issues we discussed as a board, although of course we spent quite a lot of time discussing our report on financial sustainability that was published in November and is still on our website. Nonetheless, I will say a few words about a report from our People Committee, which has just been reformed, and this will advise on the OfS's capacity, culture and capability, making sure we have an effective people strategy, we implement it well, and as a regulator we're agile and working towards being that exemplary regulator that our strategy talks about. Thank you for listening to this update. As ever, if you've got any feedback, I'd be pleased to hear from you. If you email this address, I personally read all these emails. It's edward.peck@officeforstudents.org.uk. In closing, may I wish you a relaxing winter holiday and a happy new year, and we look forward to continuing to work together in 2026. Thank you.